least Jim, Ciena, you all are known for certain types of technologies. Why don't you give us a sort of a top line of who Ciena is, what they do, and then how you're helping these government clients unlock some of this technology capability so that they can perform their missions.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to be here, Luke. Yeah, so Siena's been around 25 plus years, and we
Hmm.
come at the IT modernization problem from the infrastructure side. So the actual interconnectivity between the buildings across the U.S. and international, really making sure that the high-speed interconnections between all of the major data centers and enterprise points has the connectivity that it needs. And our place in the network is typically supplying the likes of Verizon with the telecommunications equipment that they use to provide services. So Verizon, AT&T, and actually some of the big nowadays, the big content service providers, Google, Facebook, et cetera. Even with the Red Hats of the world, we get involved in basically providing the network underpinnings. You don't typically see Ciena, but anytime you pick up the phone or you're sending an email, very likely your data is traversing a Ciena piece of equipment at some point. And so, you know, in the modernization journey, the things that we're doing is we're really trying to make the network kind of disappear from the user's perspective. All
Hmm.
of the carriers and the service providers, of course, know of us and deal with our equipment. But from a user perspective, we tend to disappear, and that's kind of what we want to do. Our mission is to make sure that the network itself is not an impediment to people's mission. And in fact, as networks become more and more critical to various missions, Space Force, the medical, and you need to transfer all the data, access information from the various sensors. Uh, it's more and more, the network becomes more and more critical and more of a force multiplier really to enable these agencies to complete their missions. And as such, we find data is almost, I think, 20%, 20 to 30% year over year increases that we're seeing baseline capacities in the core of the networks where we typically operate, and even towards the edge. um, we've helped major agencies. Now, this goes over the last decade or more, but they've been moving from relatively low speed services, 10 gig or so, which is still a lot for an individual user, but for an actual carrier, that's not that much, into hundreds of gigs and even terabits. So the capacities of the networks have been had to scale dramatically, and Ciena has been at the forefront of enabling that to happen. And as as agencies have been moving more to the cloud, there's a whole set of upgrades that are happening to enable the different agencies to do that upgrade and to migrate from their own data centers to cloud-hosted data centers. So there's a whole set of connectivity that we've had to put together, and even at the mission side, and we've talked about the tech debt that is involved in a lot of these networks. There is still, even though upgrades have been going on for decades, some places not,
Hmm.
other places
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Particularly in the DoD space, there is a tremendous amount of tech debt that still remains, and fairly old legacy,
Sure.
interactivity and telecom
Yeah.
equipment that you still need to operate with. So one of the things we do to help modernization as well is be able to support legacy formats and transmission protocols so that when you're doing a migration, you don't actually have to shut everything down.
Right.
Not a
Right.
cut. You basically you can support both modern Ethernet type technologies and older SONET SDH, to throw out a couple acronyms. But yeah, it's very important to support both older and newer protocols and be able to provide a migration path, and that's one of the things that we do as well.